Hey, welcome back. It's Jay with 1791 Actual. Glad you decided to stop by. I'm doing it live. Something a little bit different, something a little bit unusual, I guess, for the channel. And so we're going to experiment with it for a minute. And in the process right now of doing a little bit of reloading. I've got some 38 specials that we're reloading. I've already deprimed, reprimed. Used my little chamfer and deburr tool, cleaning up the mouths of them, and getting ready right now to jump over here onto the Lee Challenger press. We're getting ready to do our case mouth expansion. Got my die already in, but I haven't gotten him adjusted yet. So we're going to start off. Let's bounce over here just for. Let's get over here. Get over here on our press cam, and we're going to put a case in. Now, according to the Lee instructions, I've already done this step. Run the ram up, pull this nut back, screw this in until it touches the case holder, and then back it off 2 full turns, and then snug this nut down just finger tight. And then we can back this off, run this up, and I can feel just a little bit of pressure there. So I'm going to back that down, and I'm going to take a bullet and try seating it just in the mouth, and we'll switch back over to our other cam here for a second, and you can see that that bullet almost seats in there, but not really. He falls out a little bit too easy. So the remedy for that is we'll go ahead and run this up, loosen that nut just a little bit, and I'm going to give this about, I needed to loosen that nut just a little bit more. I'm going to give this, back him off a little bit and give this about a quarter turn. Run him up. I'm going to snug my nut down just finger tight. And I'll take my bullet and I'll try seating that again, and I can see right here it's almost going to seat. So we're going to loosen our nut again, and since there are no marks on here, I'm actually using these flat faces as my reference point. Snug that down, run him up and back, take our bullet, try seating him again, and that actually feels really, really good. Let's jump back over to our press cam again, and here you can see that bullet. It's getting really, really, really close to being just where I want him. So I'll go ahead and loosen my nut again, and we're going to do another quarter turn. So basically, I'm back to where I'm out essentially a full turn, and there it is. If you can see here, Let's if I can get this to focus, get my hand out of the way, so maybe it'll try to get our autofocus to work. See how nicely that is setting in there? And you can see from around on this side also, it's this guy, he's sitting exactly where I want him. So now I know that my case mouth expansion is set where I want it. So I'm going to bring my ram back up. And by having the ram up, the ram basically is going to help hold my die. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten my lock nut down just a little bit. And it doesn't have to be gorilla tight, just a little snug to make sure, keep it from being able to move. And I grab a hold of it and make sure that it's not moving. So now these cases, as I go through these cases, they're all going to get sized exactly like I want them. So I'm going to bring my caliber block over and set him right in here. And I'll work my way through sizing each of these, getting that case mouth expanded like I want it. And since I'm not actually doing any priming, I've already done the priming. I'm going to go ahead and put that priming arm away so that it quits dancing in and out over there. And since I know that I have 10 cases per row in my caliber block, just like I would in an ammo box. That's 10. So my 11th one, I'm going to grab another bullet. Size that 11th one. And I'm going to set that bullet in the top just to make sure that nothing's moved, and it hasn't. We're still really good shape. So now I don't have a full 50 cases here to do. Only got 44. But I am going to go ahead and run through all these because, you know, it's what we do. It's part of the reloading process. And we're to the next number 11. So grab another bullet, set it in, and as you can see, he's looking fine. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk a little bit about this this saddle bin system that I've got going on here. And you know, these are something that that I'm making up on the Bamboo Lab P1P 3D printer. And there we are. We're to the next number 11. So we'll size him, get him expanded. Try sitting a bullet in the top of him, and everything looks dandy there. So we'll just keep moving right along. And it's really handy having this saddle bin system. You know, keeps everything right here handy. Not a lot of wasted movement. Keeps everything organized. Don't really need that light on. So here we go. Moving in on that next number 11. So that's number 40. So let's go ahead and hit number 41 and recheck. You can't check enough times when you're reloading. You can't do enough checks and balances as you're working up, as you're doing your reloading, whether you're developing a load, you know, just to see what you know, what you like and what your gun likes. But the process, that's one of the reasons, and you will have seen another video at some point of a Lyman turret press that I've got, and I do love that turret press, but there is something about this simple single stage press that helps me drive to checking and rechecking every step that I take in the reloading process. You know, if you think about it, when you fire a gun, whether, you know, if you're using purchased ammunition, okay, so we've got those all ready to go, and I'm going to set my my caliber block back over here in the reloading station for a minute, and switch back to the other camera. I've already put powder in into my Lyman powder measure. I've experimented with Lee powder measures, several different ones. I've experimented a little bit with just different types of powder measures. I actually have an antique. Get this camera turned around here. I've got a really old antique Lyman powder measure there that I've just got him up there for display. I don't actually use him, but because I use this little bit more modern one. But we're running Winchester 244 ball powder, and when I'm doing loads, I keep my powder sitting right here next to the powder measure with the funnel that I use for loading the powder measure. That way I know absolutely 100% what powder I have in the powder measure right now. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to check our powder drop. So I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off of this. set it down over here on the side. And we'll go ahead and throw a couple of charges, and that's way lots of powder there. So we know that that's going to be way more powder than what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that again. And I'm getting a little bit clumsy here. I know that I need to push that in quite a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and take this stem all the way in, tighten my lock screw, and when I lower the handle, this cylinder that I've just changed the interior length on fills with powder, such that when I take it up and drop it, that powder now falls out into the pan. And by pushing that pin in, you can see I've reduced the amount of powder that it's dropping considerably. And this is one of the reasons that I keep a brush over here in my little bin, so that I can clean out my pan. I also have I have another pan that I use. This one's actually a 3D printed pan. It's nice and smooth on the inside, and it's got the little handle on it. Do a couple of throws out of him, and he is actually a little bit easier to dump out. So now I'm going to grab my Hornady handy dandy Hornady digital scale. This one's battery operated, doesn't plug in, so I don't have to worry about it warming up or any of that. I turn it on, and when it gets ready to go, come over here and I'll calibrate. Press and hold. There we go. Hold it until it says calibrate. Put my 10-gram weight on, and a weight, and it says that it's 10 grams. So it passed. Now, calibration is done in grams, and it just now said pass. And we can measure our powder in grains, not in grams. So I make sure that right here it says grains. So now I'm going to set my pan on, and my pan actually weighs 150.4 grains. So I'm going to zero my scale. Come over here and grab a load. Set it back on, and I am way overweight. I'm actually at 6.9 grains. So dump that back in, clear my cylinder, holding it up, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this all the way in one turn. Do a couple of drops. Empty my pan, make sure it's empty. Do another drop. Let's see how much I have now. I am actually at 4.5 grains. Now, my My load data says for 125 grain Sierra jacketed soft point bullet, which is what I'm using here. That's these guys. The Sierra 125 grain jacketed soft point. That's what the JSP stands for. It's 38 caliber, .357 diameter. That's the bullets that I'm using. And my load data says that for that bullet in a 38 special, using this powder, I'm looking to run my load data from the Hornady book. Actually, I always compare Hornady, Lyman, and Lee. And my range is 4.2 to 4.9 grains. I'm at 4.5. So I know that's a good number. So what I like to do is I like to test 10 checkways. So on the back of my load data card, I'm going to record these. I'm going to record 10 loads, or 10 drops. That's a second one at exactly that same weight. That one is 1/10 under. 1/10 of a grain. We're good with that. Check my pan. Make sure he's staying clean and empty. There's another 4.5. Another 4.5. Another 4.5. Another 4.5. Have you gotten the sense that this powder measure is extremely consistent? There's another 4.5. Wow, we have another 4.5. That's why I like this Lyman powder measure. The Lees that I had would be bouncing all over. That's another 4.5. So out of 10 test weighs, I had 2 at 4.6 and I had 8 at 4.5. So what do we see there? We see that I'm ready to put the lid on this and consider this ready to rock and roll. So now, over here, the die that I'm running is not only a case mouth expansion die, but it's also what Lee refers to as a powder through case mouth expansion die. Powder through means that there's a hole, runs all the way down through here. So if I put a piece of brass in here and run this up, it's nice and snug up in there. I can actually drop my powder straight in here, pull my case down, and my powder will be in the case. very handy. Now, sometimes this might be feel a little bit small. It's actually designed that you can put a Lee funnel in the top of it. I could also set the Lee funnel the way that it's designed. I could actually set that Lee funnel on top of my case to drop powder directly into the case. I can also pick up a piece of brass, put it under here, throw my lever, and drop powder directly into the case. Different methods, all getting to the same place, where you end up with powder in your cases. So what I'm going to do, since I know that my charges are accurate, I'm going to go ahead and put my scale back in the loading station and put my pan back in. Actually, I think I'll keep that pan out. So how I'm going to do this, since I know that I've got good numbers, there we go. Put my brass in, bring it up so that it's nice and tight. Get my charge, drop it down, give that a couple of taps, pull it out. And this is where my handy dandy light comes in, where I can actually look down inside and I can see that I do indeed have my charge in there. So we're going to work across and down. We'll also try one this way. Again, putting my light in there, and that is consistent with the one before it. And if you notice, I'm not skipping around in my pattern. Something that I actually bring to my reloading retired inventory controller. I was in charge of physical inventories for many years at the company that I worked at before I retired. And one of the things that I learned and subsequently educated my counters regarding is that when you're doing work like this, never change your pattern. Whatever pattern you use, make it a consistent pattern. So I'm working from one end of a row, coming down to the up, and moving them to the opposite end, working my way through. Now, I've gone through all 44 of my cases, and I actually I carry a flashlight, very, very bright little flashlight, and I am going to put my light in each of these cases and make sure that they all look the same, making sure that there's none that are double charged and that there are none that I missed. And what I find is they're all exactly like I want them. So now we have deprimed, reprimed, case mouth expanded. We've charged. So now we are ready to go ahead and pop this die out. And again, it's only in there snug, so I don't have to use a lot of force to remove it. So now we're going to do our seating, our bullet seating and crimping. And I've done this numerous times using these dies, but we're gonna go to we're gonna jump over here and get into our Lee instructions that come with the die sets. I love the Lee die sets. They come with instructions. They come with load data. They come with a powder scoop. If you're not going to use a powder measure or powder drop, you can actually scoop powder and drop it in. This is the recommended volume for the particular caliber that you're loading. And the sets that I use, these are 3 die sets. So my bullet seating, I've got my bullet seating, and sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. This is actually a bullet seating and crimp and factory crimp die. So I'm going to go ahead and back this nut out, and we'll get our camera repositioned again. I'll back this nut off, set this down in here. I'm going to raise the ram to the top of the stroke, switch back to the press cam. I'm going to raise the ram to the top of the stroke, and we're going to screw this in until it touches the shell holder. And there it is right there. Now, we're going to back this out 3 full turns. So I'm going to take note of where the writing is, aligns with the screw right here. So there's 1, 2, 3 full turns. Now, we're going to lightly finger tighten. So I'm pressed up against. I'm going to come down. We're going to run my my lock ring down just finger tight, just enough, basically to keep him from being able to go any deeper. There we go. Back that out. And now we're going to seat these. We know that our cartridge overall length needs to be 1.550 inches. So, I'm going to grab my caliper out of its handy dandy storage position in the back of the reloading station. Make sure that my caliper is on inches and that it is zeroed. So my caliper is ready to go. Now, again, starting from one end, put my case in, a bullet, seat it in. Now you understand why we wanted our cases flared just a tad so that bullet will sit there. And it's going to go up and in, and it's going to press it in a little bit. I felt it press. So, now we're going to take a look. You can see where it's set. It's not quite to the cantilever. I want it to get at least to the cantilever, but we can go ahead and do a quick check, see how close we are. So, I'm going to loosen my lock ring just a touch. And I'm actually going to take this guy around about what I would call, say, an 1/8 of a turn. Press him in. And that is incorrect because my stem isn't down quite as far as I would like him. So I'm going to take my stem in about an 1/8 of a turn. Okay, not quite. And give it a couple of turns. And that one, I actually went way too deep. So we're going to set him off to the side because he's going to have to be redone. as I turn this inner stem, it's pressing that bullet deeper into the case. What I screwed up on that other one was letting the outer part move. Which is actually where the crimping takes place. Now, that one is almost there. So I'll give it just a little bit more. Okay, now I am right in the middle of the candelure. The candelure being what's also what a lot of guys refer to as the crimp groove, okay? And a lot of guys will tell you that on something like a 38 special, it's going to go in a revolver, that you don't need to crimp it. I like to crimp it anyway. So I now know that this is the right depth for that bullet. So this is where I go ahead and back this out. I'm going to loosen my lock nut. Take my brass up, and I start bringing the die itself down. And what I'm doing now is I've made sure that this inner stem can't move the bullet, and I'm going to look for a crimp. So I can go ahead and turn this in just a little bit. Press it. And I look, and I'm starting to get a crimp. So this is where we're going to go really, really slow. We're going to go about a 1/16 of a turn. Press it. And now I have a crimp. So let's get up here on the camera, and you can see there's actually a crimp where that bullet is being held in place. So now I know that I've got everything in the right place. I'll go ahead and put him back in. I'll bring this up, and I'll tighten my lock ring. Again, doesn't have to be gorilla tight, just monkey tight. And I can now run this inner stem down until it just touches that bullet. And what's going to happen now is this guy's ready to go in my ammo box. So let me grab an ammo box. Yeah, we'll go ahead and work these. So I bring this down. Grab a bullet. Sit it in the top, take it up, press it in, and what I just felt was, I felt the stem press the bullet down, and then as it came on up, I also felt this part of the die perform the crimp. And when I bring it out, I take a look. There it is. I've got it seated and crimped. And if I grab my caliper, these are actually a little bit on the shorter side because I want them a little bit shorter because of the revolver that they're going to be used in, and the fact that these are not a round-nosed bullet but a flat-nosed bullet. So my cartridge overall length, my maximum is 1.550, and I'm at 1.450. So I'm a tenth of an inch off short, which just basically means that it's not going to have an issue with turning. So now that we know our die our press is set properly, our die is where we want it. And again, I felt everything move. There it is. If you just ran across this live, and you're curious about what's going on, we're doing some reloading. We're reloading using a Lee breech lock Challenger press with Lee dies, and what we're reloading is 38 Special. Using Winchester once fired brass, and I know that it's once fired because I had this is from brand new Winchester white box ammunition that I purchased. It's factory loads, and after a range trip, I collected up or reclaimed my brass. I go to a local outdoor range, and I pick up my brass, and then I also police up the area, and if I find any brass that's worth recovering or reclaiming, I collect it up and bring it home, clean it. I do a wet tumble and then dry it, and then I do a dry tumble. And this is once fired Winchester brass. I've already deprimed, reprimed. This has all been cleaned a while back. I've already dropped powder. We're running Winchester 244 ball powder. It's a good powder. I've had really good results with doing 38 Special and 357 Magnum using the Win 244. But I've already dropped my powder. I've put a light in all the cases. Double check to make sure that that nothing looked overcharged or undercharged. Don't want overcharge because you can actually develop dangerous pressures. Apologize for that buzz. That one kind of tried to dance out. But everything's still looking good. I retired early, retired a couple of years ago, and spend a lot of time at the range, and we're starting to get into that that time of the year when this is absolutely perfect, warm but not hot, sunshiny days. And you notice I'm taking a look at each one of these as I go, double checking, making sure that everything is as it should be. Making sure that my depth, I can tell by looking at it where I'm at in the cantilever. That again, that a lot of guys refer to as a crimp groove, and that's what it is. Correct term for it is cantilever. But I find reloading very cathartic. It's good focus. As I shared recently on a reloading group that I belong to on Facebook. We were talking about why reload the way that you do, and a lot of guys like the progressive presses. You can do a lot of rounds really fast with a progressive system like the Dillon or other systems like that. If you shoot a ton, such that your main goal is to be able to reload a lot in a short period of time. Those progressive systems are excellent. A lot of guys prefer those because of the volume that they can do. Then of course you've got the turret presses. Those are you can put multiple dies in at a time, and you just kind of rotate through them. You still got I would call it the maybe the best of both worlds kind of a thing. And you can get some good momentum built up. I've actually got a turret press. It's an old 1960s era Lyman turret press. It's a 6-position. Got it cheap on eBay. We've been in somebody's garage for a few decades. Hadn't been used in that long. Had a lot of rust, and I salvaged it. Actually, this Challenger press that I'm using right now was kind of in the same boat. Again, and this is not an expensive press. It's an aluminum frame. I've got a Lee Classic Cast, which is cast iron, really heavy duty. It was actually the press that I started with. And when I ran across that Lyman, I was interested in having a turret press and learning about the turret press and kind of experimenting with it. And so I salvaged that one, and I enjoyed it, but I found that I didn't really enjoy it quite as much as the single stage, which is what this is called, a single stage press. I know a lot of what I'm chattering about is redundant for guys that reload. But for ones that might be new to reloading, whether you're doing it just as a as an idle pastime, or if you're serious about making sure that you're getting the absolute best quality and accuracy and performance out of your ammunition. If you're new to it, you might learn a little something here. I've been doing the reloading for just over a year. But anyway, I had the Lyman Classic cast, and I ran across this this Challenger. One of the things I didn't like about the Classic cast is the basically the necessity to use the quick change die bushings. Okay, so we're done with 43 of our 45 38 specials. We've got quite a few bullets left here. But as I was saying, I ran across this this press, and these aren't expensive presses. But when I saw the price on it, I said, oh, you know, it's a shame that it was already there. Another case of somebody was cleaning out their dad's garage or shop or whatever, and they weren't into the reloading. I didn't want it to just go to waste, so I saw it was in pretty rough shape, so I got it, cleaned it up, learned a little bit more about this press, and actually kind of fell in love with this little guy. So I now have these 43 rounds. This one, I actually got him seated a little too deeply. So you're going to get to see something that you might not get to see otherwise. It's called a bullet puller. Bullet pullers are very handy. This is what you use when you get a bullet that is seated too deeply. And this one is seated too deep, but he wasn't crimped. And I need to get my bullet puller parts out. What we have is these rings, these collets that go in. And collet number 2, the one with 2 grooves, which is this guy. It's the one that we're after. Press that down onto that round. Drop that in. Screw this on. Push that in. Yes, there is a primer in there, and there is powder in it, and there's a bullet in there. And we're going to get ready to make some noise. And looking at it, I can tell that that bullet has indeed slipped a little bit, but not quite enough. See that? The bullet and the powder dumped out. So now I have a case. There's no residual powder in there. Get my box here. Take that out. Take that bullet out, set him to the side, check him. Everything looks fine on him. I'm not going to trust the powder that came back out of him. I may have lost just a little bit of it, so I'm going to actually put that back in, because I know my powder measure is accurate. And I also know that my case mouth is, the expansion on the case mouth isn't in trouble, so I can actually go right back into the press. I'll drop my charge, in, reseat that bullet, put him up, seat him, and he is now crimped just like the other 43, and I have 44 rounds of 38 Special reloaded for y'all. I know the stream quality, it's been iffy. But I hope y'all have been stuck around all this time with me. We've been on here a while, and it's almost 3 o'clock. You know, it can take, depending on how many you're doing, and you know, if you got the right music going, it can take an entire afternoon to do 50 rounds. Like I said, I consider this a very cathartic activity. I've got my tools that I've developed, that I print up. And my reloading station. That's a handy thing. I've got my card. I've got my caliber block and my tray. The tray back in there. I'm ready to go ahead and pull my die. Just grab my large channel hocks. Give them just a slight twist. And you may ask, well, why don't you use the locking rings that so many do? I've used them. I ended up backing away from the lock rings because I found that I like to ensure myself that everything is set every time. I don't necessarily distrust locking ring, but at the same time I don't know that I really want to trust it that when I tighten it in place that nothing has moved. So I like to verify as I don't remember which former president it was that used the line. I believe it was Ronald Reagan, but I'm not positive. I became familiar with the term through a gentleman that I used to work with. He was my boss for many, many years. That trust but verify. And so I trust the locking rings, but I also want to verify that they are as they should be. So 38 special dies. Put my die set back. Y'all may be familiar with this, but I'm going to show it again anyway. I've never shown it on a live. But I developed this racking system for all my dies in 9mm Luger, Makarov, 357 Magnum, 357 SIG. Put these 38 specials in here. And down here we've got 40 Smith & Wesson, 45. So let's go ahead and put these 380s up here. 45s down. SIG in here. We'll slide the 410s. 410 brass. That's actually 444 Marlin. Put the rifle dies down here. Put my pistol dies up here. Miscellaneous tools. Miscellaneous tool bins. My priming arms. Different trays. Handy things. So we're going to grab one of these handy dandy 1791 actual ammo boxes for 38 special. You may have seen this before too. If you're new to the channel, maybe you haven't. Get that camera in. Let's try to get this camera in the right place again. There we go. So we take our 38 special box, put them on top of our caliber block, hold them together, flip them, and there's my ammo box is loaded up. Slide the lid in, and I'm ready to go to the range. So we'll put our caliber block back. And there we have it, and there we are. Like I said, this is the first live. Hopefully it actually worked, and I don't end up deleting it because of technical issues. But I do appreciate you stopping by, hanging out while I did some reloading of 38 specials. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you saw something interesting. Leave comments, like and subscribe, and if you want to keep up to date, make sure and hit that little bell button. And as always, God bless, and see you on the other side.